like to call this meeting of the Westland City Council to order, please. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, tonight led by Joey Dune and Grace Rose.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you'll stay right there, Councilman Landau will be right down to talk to you.
Everyone give a big round of applause for Joey and Grace for doing the Pledge of Allegiance tonight. We appreciate you guys coming out tonight. We're going to start with Grace, ladies first. So Grace is 10 years old in Miss Furlong's 5th grade class at Hoover Elementary. Grace lives with her mom, Barb, and older brother, Cameron. Grace's favorite subject is social studies. Why is your favorite subject social studies?
Because it's easier and Miss Furlong teaches it good.
Good. Well, we like to hear that. And it also says you enjoy the history of the Underground Railroad. What's that all about?
I like the girl who broke everyone out because it takes a big heart to do that.
Very good, very good. In her spare time, Grace likes to ride her bike. I don't think you'd be riding your bike. Actually, you probably could ride your bike. It's been a little bit seasonally warm lately. So thank you for doing the Pledge of Allegiance with us. I have a certificate on behalf of the mayor, the city clerk, and the city council. Okay, Joey's also here. Joey's also 10 years old and is in Mrs. Furlong's 5th grade class at Hoover Elementary as well. Joey lives with his dad, Joe. So this is Joe Jr. His mom, Jennifer, and 3 dogs. What are your dogs' names?
Molly, Ruby, and Mason.
What kind of dogs are they?
Chocolate Labs and a Silver Lab.
Great, great dogs. And your favorite subject is math. Now I ask all these kids this. Can you teach me the, help me out, the Common Core math? Can you teach me?
No.
Mrs. Furlong, can you teach him so he can teach me? Because I'm still struggling with it when I help my niece and nephew. So, in his spare time, Joey likes to play in the park with his best friend, Adam. So, Joey, thank you for coming and leading the Pledge of Allegiance with us tonight. We also have a certificate for you. I see Mrs. Furlong's here and your parents are here. If you guys want to come up and maybe say a few words. If not, we can just take a picture and let you guys get back out of here. Parents want to come up? Don't be shy, Mrs. Furlong. You look very proud of these two. Why don't you say a few words about them?
Yeah, I'm definitely proud of them. They're amazing students, very kind and helpful, and they're great leaders, so I'm not surprised they were chosen for this tonight.
Parents want to say anything? Just that you're very proud of them? Very proud. What about you? Very proud of them? Great. Well, thank you very much for coming and raising these young leaders. So if you guys want to just come in a group here, we're going to take one group photo and let you go ahead and get on with the rest of your night.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Green. Present. Councilman Hammonds. Present. Councilman Hart. Here. Councilman Hersberg. Here. Councilman Johnson.
Here.
Councilman Londo.
Here.
President Godbout.
Present.
A quorum is present.
We'll begin with announcements and presentations. Kyle?
Good evening, Council President Godbout, Council and the Administration. I come before you guys tonight to announce that the Parks and Recreation 5-year Master Plan's 30-day public review period will be beginning this Thursday, December 5th. This is a notice to all interested parties that the draft of the 2020 Parks and Rec Master Plan for the City of Westland is going to be available for review and comment for 30 days from December 5th to January 4th. City Hall, the library, Friendship Center, and Jefferson Barnes will all have a draft copy available for view. during regular business hours. Interested parties can also locate the draft on the City of Westland's website at www.cityofwestland.com. We plan to hold the public hearing for this Parks and Rec Master Plan in January for an adoption shortly after. This master plan is going to serve as a guide for the acquisitions and development of community recreation facilities and programs in the area over the next 5 years. All interested parties, please submit comments in person during regular business hours to my department or by mail at Westland Parks and Recreation, mail to 36300 Warren Road, Westland, 48185. If there are any other questions or comments, alternate accommodations if needed, please let my department know by calling 734-722-7620 or email parks@cityofwestland.com. I just want to open up to any questions if anybody had any.
Anyone on council?
All right. Thank you,
Thanks.
guys.
Mary?
Good evening, Councilman Godbout, the entire council. I'm Mary McClendon from the Office of Wayne County Commissioner Glenn Anderson, and I want to say congratulations to the returning council persons as well as to the new coming council persons as well. I'm sure all of you will do a great job working together in the up and coming year. We're looking for great things in the city in the new year of 2020. After all, it's the beginning of a new decade, so some new things should be coming to pass during this new event and time. I also want to say, as a reminder, don't forget the Light Fest are going on, and currently going on, and they'll go through December 31st. Will not be open on Christmas because the county employees want to have a time with their family as well. And they're Monday through Friday from 7 p.m. until 10, and then Saturday and Sunday, 6 p.m. until 10. It's 5 miles of beautiful colored lights. They have some new displays this year. Frankenmuth was a part of helping with some of the decorations, so it should be very, very nice. So go and enjoy the Light Fest. Sometimes we say we have nothing to do. Go to the Light Fest and enjoy that. You will be excited. Also, coffee hours will resume next year, so be ready for that next year. And I just want to say that I'm excited about the new year, and I'm looking for new and great things in the up and coming year. If you have something that you need processed between now and the end of the year, I suggest you get them done for Wayne County, because Wayne County will close between Christmas and New Year's. Only the essential services will be working, so if it's something you need processed or something you need done, I suggest you get on it and get it done so that you will have it out before the end of the year if that's something that can happen. So again, we will be working, the commissioner's working, even though the coffee hours are not going on, we are working. So if we can be of any assistance, be sure to let us know. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thanks, Mary. We'll move on to citizens' questions or input on the agenda. Citizens will be recognized before the business of the meeting commences to address the council pertaining to items that are specifically on the business agenda. Citizens are asked to limit their questions or input to 3 minutes. Is there anyone on my left? Anyone on my right? Yes.
Hello, William Asper. Some of this I'm going to talk about because I already introduced some of it in the study session. So as everyone else knows, I'd say is the big thing is the recycling center, or recycling, where's the money going to come from, basically. It was said that it will cost $600.
This is on the agenda?
Oh.
This isn't on the agenda?
Oh, my bad, I'll do it then, sorry.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone on my left? Items on the agenda. Anyone on my right? We'll close citizens' comments on the agenda and move on to the consent calendar. Is there a motion? Motion by Councilman Landau, supported by Councilman Hart. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing no dissent, motion carries unanimously.
Council has approved the following consent calendar items. Approval of request from Steve Rise on behalf of St. Mary Cause of Our Joy Catholic Church to serve beer at their Our Lady of Guadalupe event to be held at the church on Thursday, December 12, 2019. Traffic Control Order 2019-11, install 2 no overnight parking signs at Curtis Woods Park, located on Palmer, west of Selma, in the parking lot off of Palmer Road. Approval of purchase of uninterruptible power supply for the Department of Innovation and Technology to enhance our current power distribution as it relates to the primary servers located at City Hall. Total amount not to exceed $5,480. Approval of consulting agreement with Nasserini Strategy Group, LLC, for grant writing and government relations services. Contract shall begin January 2, 2020, expire January 2, 2021. Fee not to exceed $6,000 per month, and authorizes the mayor and city clerk to execute the agreement on behalf of the city. Approval to make changes to the city's existing services with AT&T that would give the city the ability to take advantage of a number of programs that will allow for significant monthly savings. Introduction of Ordinance 248A95, an ordinance to amend Ordinance 248 to show I-1 district classification where CB4 is now shown in the area situated in the city of Westland, described as 39139 Ford Road, south side of Ford, west of Hicks. This is Planning Department number 2215. Adoption of Land Division Resolution, Linville Street, parcel number 0799900117001, south of Palmer, north of Glenwood, on the east side of South John Hicks. Planning Department number 2228. This land division was approved by City Council on November 4, 2019. Adoption of prepared resolution authorizing the disposition of 3 foreclosed, abandoned, and vacant properties. Power Street, also 34124 Birchwood, and 8332 Hughes Street for the unpaid taxes from Wayne County for the unpaid taxes and demolition or redevelop to help stabilize neighborhoods. Last item on the approval of the consent calendar was approval of the schedule of regular meetings of the Westland City Council for the 2020 calendar year. New business item 1, request for closed study session December 16, 2019 at 6:00 p.m. to discuss settlement in Coaches versus City of Westland and to discuss trial strategy in Buckley versus City of Westland.
Motion by Councilman Hersberg, supported by Councilman Johnson. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Green.
Yes.
Councilman Hammonds.
Yes.
Councilman Hart.
Yes.
Councilman Hersberg.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Londo.
Yes.
President Godbout.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. New business item 2, approval of minutes of regular meeting held November 18, 2019.
Support.
Motion by Councilman Hersberg, supported by Councilman Londo. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Green.
Yes.
Councilman Hammonds.
Abstain.
Councilman Hart.
Yes.
Councilman Hersberg.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Londo.
Yes.
President Godbout.
Yes.
Motion passes. New business item 3, approval of request to vacate 3 easements on the Park West subdivision parcel number 00999-0003-702.
Is there, motion by Councilman Hersberg, is there support? Support. Support by Councilman Hart. Oh, do you have something on this?
From the owner and developer of Park West subdivision to not vacate but abandon. The agenda was updated earlier today to reflect that new language. Abandon 3 easements located over that parcel to prepare the site for construction. Right now, the developer has to successfully vacate those easements to be able to construct, fully construct the development as proposed and approved by the City Council on March 19th of 2018. That development, if you remember, consists of 80 single family condominium styles parcels for single-family homes. These easements were dedicated to the city for a variety of utilities, and one of them was for a temporary construction. The utilities have been removed, consistent with regulations from our DPS department, and that was all approved again through DPS. So right now, these easements are still in place with no utilities in there, and they're requesting to vacate. Once the construction is completed and the master deed is drafted, there will be new easements provided in the master deed that's recorded and provided to the city. And there's a resolution in your packet that will be approved as part of this packet as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Fasson?
Thank you, Council President. Just to amplify what Mr. Ayub has indicated, this is a request for a resolution that abandons these easements. And because this is a title issue, the resolution asks that the council authorize that a certified copy of the resolution be able to be recorded with the Register of Deeds, and authorize the mayor and the clerk to sign any necessary instruments to allow that title recording to occur to clear things up for the developer. So there's a little extra complexity because of that title issue, and certainly the developer doesn't want to get stopped by the title company. So that's what's going on here, is that you're engaging in that abandonment of those no longer used easements.
Thank you. Is there any questions from the council? Any discussion? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing no dissent, motion carries unanimously.
New business item 4, approval of voucher.
Motion by Councilman Herzberg. Is there support? Support by Councilman Hart. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing no dissent, motion carries unanimously. We'll move on to citizens' comments or requests. Citizens will be recognized at the end of the meeting immediately following the agenda item approval of vouchers. Citizens are asked to limit their comments to 3 minutes. All citizens wishing to speak will be heard. Is there anyone on my left? Mary?
Mary McClendon again. I just want to take this opportunity to commend the police department. I did see on the news the report of the turkey giveaways, and I thought that was just tremendous, especially at a time such as this. And then I also know some individuals who received the turkeys as well, and they were so thankful and so excited. And one actually told me, I didn't have any food at all. So it really, it was a good feeling, and I think it's great. And I think the police department needs to be commended for that. And that's why I'm back. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary. Anyone on my right? Anyone on my, yes,
This now be the time?
yes.
Okay, so I figured, I apologize for earlier. The big thing was for the recycling, it's for everybody. The recycling stopped, I believe it was February, March of earlier this year. And there is talk about putting it back on, let me get my paper real quick, I apologize. So the figure that they came up with was $600,000 a year to start this back. And they're wanting to increase the millage, 1 mil. Doesn't seem like a lot. It's basically $50 for every $100,000 your property is worth. 2 months ago, because as we know, we don't recycle, but we still have 2 waves of trucks that come through every Monday, well, every other Monday. I did a FOIA for how much this is costing the city, each wave, each month. It was the same figure. So the garbage trucks come 4 times a month. The recycle trucks, the blue bins, come 2 times a month. We paid the same amount. Doesn't make sense to me either. So I did a FOIA for how much this was costing the city. It cost the city $89,716.20 each wave. So the garbage trucks we need. The recycle bins, as I said, it's every other week. So, and we're still paying that same figure, same amount. the $600,000 that they're requesting, that they want to increase the millage, it's been 8-9 months already. We're at $720,000 right there. That would have paid it. Instead, it hasn't been done. And it's just a poor appropriation of tax money. There was the $200,000 of computers. That was earlier this year. That was passed. Why wasn't this, it's poor financial management. It's all it is. I don't know who's to blame for it, but, I mean, someone needs to be held accountable. I don't know who started, who took the recycling off, but, secondly, over the weekend, I saw a commercial on Facebook and I saw it on TV. It was Mayor Wild's commercial about this shop and dine district. I was curious what fund this was pulling out of and how much this cost. It seemed crazy to me that he would want to promote the shop and dine district even though it was redlined for the marijuana facilities. It doesn't really equal out. I've seen some new signs in Norwayne. I have many rental properties in Norwayne, as many of you know, and I saw some signs in Norwayne. Not sure how much they cost, but when are the roads in Norwayne going to be fixed or replaced? They're horrible, horrible. Everyone, all my tenants, they always complain about them. Anyone here, I'm sure, that knows about it, they do the same. The last thing was that I wanted to, Mr. Drzuzik, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, you have a sergeant that has 2 PPOs on him, including from a Michigan State police officer and his wife. Has his guns been taken away, and what's happening with that? Thank you.
Is there anyone on my left? Yes.
Lori Wilson, Westland. Jim Hart, I just want to thank you for inviting the group of us to help pack the boxes for the veterans. That was an amazing experience. And if anybody else in the city, Mike, you were there, thank you. Oh, no, it was Kevin. But there were, and Jim was there. There was a number of, Bill, you were there. There were a number of people there, and we packed, was it 230 boxes in a half hour, 45 minutes, something like that. So they had a good line going, and the vets came in and they took all the boxes. And the police came in and they took boxes, and it was good. So congratulations for what you did for the vets. I'd like to do it again next year. All right.
Is there anyone on my right? Yes.
Richard Graham from Westland and also with Move Westland Forward. I really just want to come up here and talk about, it was a study session regarding recycling, and wanted to make sure people get this information sooner rather than later. But what it seems like is, since February, when we started our fake recycling and not real recycling at the curbside, what Mayor Wild has decided to do, his master plan is to raise taxes. So raise taxes or raise millage on the residents of up to 1 mil. And the best thing about that is they want it to be done, to be voted on by council within 2 weeks. So in general, ramming that down council's throat to do it within 2 weeks to get it approved so they can get it on the March ballot. So, obviously we haven't been recycling for a long time now. We were caught flat-footed, unlike a lot of other communities that have continued recycling. And by the numbers, we run a deficit as it is. The trucks appear to be getting older. I think there's probably no other choice than to do the 1 mil. That'll bring in about $1.7 million. You're going to need the money. There's not many other options. We didn't have a good plan, unlike maybe cities like Farmington Hills, maybe also in Washtenaw County, Oakland County, that have combined forces and be able to, be able to have a much more economic way of recycling. Plus also, one of the key things is too, we should have been looking at long ago, we have the site on Ford Road, to really set up our own enterprise, set up our own business, to be able to, since we're a large city, do our own recycling, but be able to bring in recyclables from other smaller cities. As an example, Wayne. I have no idea of their circumstance, but there's other communities out there that maybe would have been able to bring material into us where we could have made money. Like we would, at this point, look at other communities for us to be able to send our waste instead of paying it. I think it now is well over $100 per ton. I believe in February it was around $80 per ton. So even if we would have acted then and signed some sort of long-term contract back in February, we would have been saving money like other communities that signed long-term contract. Our contract was month to month. So when that happened, there was no escape route other than to stop and go to fake recycling with the blue bins that get picked up but go to the landfill. So just want to make sure all residents are aware that in 2 weeks, it looks like, council will vote to put on the ballot in March to raise your taxes up to 1 mil to cover for the deficiencies of our sanitation and in general our recycling department. Thank you very much.
And one on my left. Dan?
I'll already cover it.
Okay. One on, Ray?
I want to say hello, everyone. I want to give compliments to the Westland Police Department, and they had a goal with the target. Matter of fact, they did they did their goal, and I was really happy with them because I was there too, and so was Mike, and I really enjoyed it. I really did. And the last couple of weeks, someone said up in here, I'm not going to say names, I'm not picking on nobody, that we don't know what all my friends and I don't know what I'm talking about. Well, let me say something. I won't just get up here and waste my time and my tongue. I get up here because with my passion. When I see something, I point it out. I talk about mental health. I talk about a whole bunch of different good things, and people out there telling me I'm doing an awesome job. Until someone bees in my shoes, that's where the respect comes from. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to say no more. I'm just looking at I don't want to look at the negative people. I'm going to look at positives, and life goes on. So I'm doing good things, like I said, and the Westland Police Department, the Fire Department. It's getting better up here, too, with the council. I do see that. So keep up the good work. Thank you.
Anyone on my left? Anyone on my right? We'll close citizens' comments and move on to comments from the administration. Mayor?
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. First of all, Council, I'd like to thank you for coming in early tonight for a study session, and I'm going to touch on that real quick. I did present to the City Council tonight potential ballot language that I'm going to ask them to put on their next City Council agenda. This will be to give the city the ability to levy up to 1 mil for sanitation operations, which will allow us to effectively bring back recycling in the calendar year. We've been working diligently all throughout the year in a soft market, trying to come up with a way for the city to continue recycling. At the end of the day, it's going to require more revenue. So by us asking the City Council to put a millage on the March election will be the quickest way that we can get that in front of the residents. At the end of the day, it's going to be the residents of the city of Westland that decide if this is something that we want to do. So between now and then, if council agrees with me and moves this to a ballot, we'll have a chance to really talk in depth about the need for it. And at the end of the day, I'm going to tell you, you're probably going to hear a lot of things about this. If you want to know exactly what we're doing and why, you can certainly reach out to my office at any time at 734-467-3200. One of the things is that the current sanitation millage that we have, and this is a sanitation millage that the city's been living under, a lot of times you say government can't live within their means. The current sanitation millage that we have was adopted in 1968. It was for 3 mills, and we've been working with everything we do in sanitation under that millage since 1968. Because of the Headley rollback, that millage currently is down to about 2.4 mills, and brings in about $900,000, close to $1 million less than if it was at a full 3 mills. So I appreciate council coming in early. Hopefully we were able to answer as many questions as we could, and certainly I'll make my staff and myself available between now and the next council meeting to help you with that. With that said, it's holiday season in the city of Westland. You probably noticed when you came into City Hall tonight that we're busy decorating, getting ready for the holidays here in the All-American City. This week, there's lots of fun stuff. The library is going to be hosting a sing-along Wednesday night starting at 6. The Norway Community Citizens Council will be hosting their annual tree lighting ceremony and multicultural celebration on Thursday, December 5th at 6 p.m. The Friendship Center is expecting over 500 people to attend the annual holiday party this Friday. Next Monday, December 9th at 5:30 p.m., join us in front of City Hall for our annual Deck the City Hall event as we welcome Mr. and Mrs. Claus to town. It's a free event, but if you were to bring a gift that you could donate to the Westland Goodfellows or a cash donation to the Westland Goodfellows No Children Without a Christmas Fund, you will receive a fast pass, which will help you cut the line and get in front of Mr. and Mrs. Claus faster. The Westland Historical Village this Saturday will be open from noon to 4 for they'll have their own holiday event there, and Santa will once again be there to spend a little bit more time with Westland children. And then, of course, December 14th at Westland Mall is the big day where you have a chance to win not one, but 2 $5,000 shopping sprees. The event kicks off at 10 a.m. The 2 lucky winners will be drawn at noon. You do have to be there. There is no purchase necessary. We are encouraging people to get there early to get a ticket, and because the place is going to fill up fast. All the stores at the mall will be anxiously awaiting you, so hope you bring your holiday shopping money with you too, and they're going to have all kinds of special events and special discounts and stuff for that day. And then, of course, the Heinz Park Light Fest is open every night now through December 31st. And the last thing is that next week is your last chance to get your leaves out to the curb, as the curbside compost will be coming to an end until spring. And actually, one last thing is Councilman Johnson and Councilman Hammonds will be finishing off their terms as elected Westland City Council members at the next meeting. So hopefully they'll both be in attendance, and I know that myself, on behalf of the city and the city council and the clerk, would like to take a few minutes to recognize both of your long service to the community. Thank you.
Thanks. Before I move on to the city attorney's office, Oscar from Congresswoman Tlaib's office just came in, and he had requested time to speak before.
Good evening and season's greetings, Mayor Wild, City Council, and good folks here of Westland. My name is Oscar. I'm from Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib's office. I just wanted to give you a quick update on our last installation of Congress Coffee and Conversations for the year. We're going to be having our last one this Saturday, December 7th, from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., and it's going to be at a Detroit Central Neighborhood Service Center. It's going to be this Saturday at our service center, and that one's going to, and our service center is at 7700 2nd Avenue, Detroit, Michigan, 48202. This is always a great opportunity to get an update directly from the Congresswoman and then have a conversation with her as well concerning issues and concerns you have in your respective cities and area. And yeah, that's all I got for you folks. Do I have any questions? Excellent. Thank you so much for the time. Have a good evening.
We'll move on to our city attorney's office.
Just wanted to comment that I did hear Councilman Johnson and Councilman Hammonds, who I've had the pleasure of serving over a number of years, indicate that they were trying to buy fast passes to Santa to convert their bad boy status into to the good boy list. I don't know if that's true. There may be an investigation into it later. Thank you.
I'm going to recognize our clerk, Mr. LeBlanc.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was contacted by retired city clerk Diane Fritz, as well as some other folks over the last several days, with some sad news. A person that many of us have known for a long time has passed away. Margaret Rose died on November 28th at the age of 106. Yeah, and she was really a special lady. She was a resident of this town since the 1940s. I'd known her for not quite 50 years. And when her family called the office today to ask the council president if I'd be allowed to offer a few comments, I was given instruction as to a few things to say because she had such a remarkable life. She was often asked, what do you attribute to living such a long time? And she would always say the same thing: faith, family, and friends. And she had a lot of all of that. Margaret worked as a secretary for the Health Services Department in the Wayne Westland Community School District. She retired in 1979. And loved by everyone, she was a proud member of a social group that emanated from that service named the Mushers. This includes retired Wayne Westland school secretaries. And the Mushers host monthly meetings, breakfast meetings, and though Margaret did not have a license, family and friends helped her to get to these meetings, these breakfasts, for decades, including through this year. She was very active right up to the end of her life. And if you knew Margaret and were celebrating something, chances were pretty good that you'd receive a card from her. And like some other more senior ladies in our community, they had this knack of just knowing how to make you feel real special through some writing or remembering your name, of course, and certain dates and milestones. And I know that when I spoke with her earlier this year, she made me feel that way because I was just in awe that she had the memory that she did. Margaret is survived by her son, John, her daughter, Judy, her son-in-law, Tom, sister-in-law, Jean, many grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and many other friends and family. And the family asked that I indicate that visitation is December 5 and December 6 at Vermeulen Funeral Home on Newburgh. Margaret served as a church deacon for many years at the Kirk of Our Savior Church, and her funeral will be held there at 10 o'clock this coming Saturday. She touched the lives of many people, and I think it's fair to say she will be deeply missed. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thanks, Richard. We'll move on to council comments. Councilwoman Green.
Thank you. I just wanted to briefly update the residents quickly in terms of the discussion, or give an update in terms of the discussion we had at the study session. As several people have mentioned, it has been proposed that City Council approve a millage to be put on the ballot in March of next year. What I have asked council, or the statement that I made in the meeting, is one of the statements that I made in the meeting, is that there's a presidential election coming up next year, as most people know, which will bring out most of the voters. The people who intend to vote will vote during the presidential election. The millage that is proposed is going to impact 100% of the residents in the city of Westland in terms of a potential tax increase. And I do not believe that it is just or proper for City Council to approve a millage in 2 weeks that we've known about this issue for almost the entire year, and then to put it on a ballot in March, knowing that most of our voters will not turn out in March. Most voters will be voting when the president is on the ballot, which will be during the primary and the general. So I have proposed that in order to make it most fair to Westland tax-paying citizens, that you allow the majority of voters to decide if a tax increase is desired in our city versus allowing a small percentage of voters or the smaller percentage of voters who will vote in March to determine if everyone's taxes will go up. I think putting it on the general election is the most fair thing to do in terms of honoring the voice of the mass of our voters in the city of Westland. So I would like the millage put on the general ballot, and city council does have the ability to do that. And while it has been proposed that we approve this in somewhat of a rushed fashion, there has been so many expenditures put before council this entire year that were not in the budget. They were not urgent. They were things that should have waited, could have been denied due to the fact that we have more than a $500,000 deficit looming for this recycling program that everyone has known about, why we were approving hundreds of thousands of dollars on some things that never even went out properly to bid. So to say, well, we need you to get this on the ballot in 2 weeks and then let the smaller percentage of the voters in the city decide, that is not fair to the citizens of Westland. So in total transparency, there are other issues with this sanitation program and the contract that was awarded that has placed the city in this situation. This is not something that just came out of the air. Some of these financial decisions and contracts that the city has entered into has once again placed us in this position, but at the end of the day, we have to take some sort of action. However, I believe that it is most reasonable and fair to allow the majority of voters to decide if everyone's taxes will go up, and that will be during the general election of the presidential general election of next year. Thank you.
Councilman Hammonds.
Thank you, Council President. I just want to take a moment to congratulate all of those that were elected in the past election. My apologies for not being here at the last meeting to be able to offer my congratulations, but also to our new council members that are coming in, best of luck. Congratulations. If you ever need anything, please reach out to me. I also want to congratulate those that ran in the election but were not successful. It's not easy to run an election. It takes a lot of your time, a lot of your money, a lot of your energy, and not to make it at the end probably doesn't feel so good, but I want to congratulate you for at least putting your hat in the ring and trying to get out there and help out your city. So congratulations to everyone. I will be here at the next council meeting, and Mr. Fasson, I don't know if I'm going to end up on the good list this year, but thanks for trying to help me out. That's it for me.
Councilman Hart.
Thank you, Council President. Lori, thanks for stealing my thunder about the Veterans Meal thing. I really appreciate it. But seriously, thanks for coming out. Thanks for all that did come out and support it. It has grown exponentially over the years. We saw just a massive, massive force that come out and help us. And honestly, we couldn't have done it just as fast without the John Glenn wrestling team that came out and helped me build my assembly line. So we had some training on just-in-time assembly and supply chain management. And they're not quite Six Sigma yet, but we're going to get there by next year. But they did a fantastic job. They did load up 240 boxes on a nice system within a half an hour. So they moved well. And all the veterans, the veterans come out was really rewarding. We started this program a number of years ago, and we added a couple twists to it. And one of the things we do is we make sure we carry everything to your car for the vets so they don't have to touch anything. And some get cranky about it. Then I fight them and say, it's my call, not yours. And then we carry it out for them. And at the end of the day, they're very thankful for it. And it means an awful lot to us. And for those of you that participate, I assure you, it means an awful lot to the veterans, too. They see it, and they're very thankful. So thank you for everybody who showed up, and thank you to everyone who supported it, my friends and colleagues. The mayor told you, and I'll just remind you, do realize that the compost pickup does end on the 13th of December. So that's the week of the 13th, so wherever your trash day falls on that day. So if you're somebody like me who puts out over 100 bags a year of leaves and probably still has about 50 bags sitting in the back, get to it, get them filled up, because after that it'll just get snowed on, and then you'll be really upset in the spring. So I'll try and make sure I enlist my children to help me do that. We'll see how successful I'll be, but do your best to get your leaves picked up as well. With the last thing that was brought up, a couple people talked about this recycling millage. I kind of don't like the short time frame myself, to be frank, but I realize that it's a short time frame and we kind of have a tough decision to make, and the sand's in the glass and it's falling. I think the mayor, we spoke in the study session earlier and we talked, and originally it was $18 a ton for recycle. When we pulled the plug on it, it got to $80 a ton. So it swelled that fast. And now that we're sitting down talking about it, our new figures, going back from February to now, are $128 a ton. And that's what we're basing our financial prospectus off of, and that's what we're figuring out our millage and the money we need. If we kick the can down the road until the general, and this I'm concerned about, it won't be 128 a ton, we're gonna be looking at 175 a ton. So now the 1 mil that we've kind of figured out that we might need, it ain't gonna be 1 mil, it's gonna be 1.5. So I'm worried, I don't like the short time frame, but I'm worried if we just sit there and kind of move it off a little bit further, it's gonna cost us more money. I know a lot of people want recycling. I'm gonna end up paying about $100 a month in tax or $100 a year, in extra taxes to get it done. And I'm willing to support that, and I know a lot of residents are as well. So again, I don't like the short time frame, but there's a reason for it. The prices are going up on a day, and we won't be able to lock them in until we know that we have the funds to do it, to be able to execute a contract. So it's important to just realize that's why the urgency is there. So I don't like it, but I get it. And with that, I wish you all a happy day. Thank you.
Councilman Johnson. Councilman Londo. I know he's got something.
Just a couple things. Thanks a lot. Just want to start off by thanking Chief Jedrzejczyk for hosting Coffee with a Cop last week at Bigby Coffee. It was a great turnout. A lot of great questions were asked. I had a large list, but I won't go through every one. But the chief touched on a number of topics, concerns of manpower, snow emergencies. Do they actually issue tickets? Yes, they do. The fact that we have an active shooter emergency response team in place now to protect our kids in our schools, which I think is fantastic. So a lot of different things that he brought up. But one thing I did really like that he brought up was the fact of, it's a partnership with the community. And he says his community, they have a neighborhood community Facebook group for their specific neighborhood. I think it's a great idea for everybody, to get with your neighbors. You might not knock on their door, but everyone seems like it's on Facebook nowadays. So you can have one of these neighborhood associations, have it a closed group so it's just specific to your neighborhood. And you can really share ideas and share concerns and forward those on to the police department. Sticking with the police department, I want to thank everyone that participated in the 4th annual Stuff a SWAT Truck event. We had over 27 shopping carts this year, so up from 19 last year, which is absolutely incredible. We moved it to, I volunteered the last 4 years. It's their thing. But they moved it to Black Friday. So we had a significant uptick in shoppers this year. So I want to thank all the residents, all the volunteers, the police department that was out there, and of course Target and its employees. They actually went in and shopped and brought out 2 cartloads full of stuff. And even the police department, I got a photo I've been meaning to share that they went in and dug in their own pockets and bought some items to bring out as well. So I appreciate that and everybody that was involved. And with that, holiday shopping's in full effect here in the All-American City. I would encourage everyone to please shop Westland, whether it's shopping, dining, going to the movies. We have a lot of great options here in our city. But again, Black Friday was slammed at the mall, all around the mall. This whole shop and dine area was absolutely incredible, as well as Small Business Saturday. Just to touch on the veteran meal giveaway, thank you everyone for participating in that. We had a significant challenge as it went from 68 veterans meals to up to 231, or actually maybe even more now. 240? About 240, so huge uptick in veteran meals. And, speaking to Ms. Wilson's comments that came up, these veterans are absolutely just ecstatic to get these meals. We had one gentleman come up, Mrs. Griffin walked the meal out to his car, and she's a hugger, so she gave him a hug, and he didn't want to let go. He was that excited, and he needed that hug for more ways than one. So we really appreciate all the help from everybody that came out. Councilman Hart has a great process as far as, he's a drill sergeant, I'll tell you what, as far as getting this, everything in order. And we were there from about 6 a.m. until almost 2 o'clock. So it was a long day, but a great day, chance to give back to our veterans. As far as recycling, I too have some concerns. I brought up a few of them in the meeting. I'll make sure to stop by City Hall and talk to the Finance Department and the Mayor's office to get those concerns addressed. If any residents have any questions, please, like the Mayor said, call the Mayor's office. Or you can contact me on Facebook, or my phone number is 734-223-0200. If it goes on the March ballot, people are going to know about it. I asked the clerk before the meeting if he anticipates a high turnout for that election. He said yes, very high. The president will be on this ballot. There will be a number of candidates on the ballot, so it won't obviously be as high as the November election or the August, but there'll be a significant turnout at that event or at that election, and we'll make sure to get the word out to the folks as this is going to affect them. And I do want to remind everyone too, it affects us too. Any tax increase, I'm paying it, the mayor's paying it, anybody up here that lives in Westland, we all live in Westland, we have to pay that tax as well. So thank you.
Councilman Hertzberg.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd like to touch on the recycling too, kind of before this gets blown out of proportion. We're approving language only, so we're not raising the millage. The administrative team, everybody looked at it, is going to be too big of a project just, I think, for anybody at City Hall to decide. So the decision will be up to the residents. I also want to congratulate Vic, everybody at the Civic League for volunteering and giving away those turkeys. I couldn't make it this year, but a couple of the council members were there. And as Councilman Londo said, they gave away 240 this year. In the past few years they've been doing it, it's been about 50 to 70. So it's a huge uptick. Let's keep the momentum going. And then we'll see everybody here December 9th for the Christmas tree lighting. Thanks.
I'd like to start this evening by thanking Joey Dunay and Grace Rose, the two students from Hoover Elementary, for leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance this evening. And one thing that was on the agenda that normally gets some conversation or at least some comments was the renewal of the contract for No Sereni Strategies Group. And the contract was the same as it was the previous year. There was no increase in the contract. But just so that the residents are aware, this year when you looked at the summary that was provided, No Sereni Strategy Group helped with over $3 million in grants awarded to this city. So I think it's $6,000 a month was the contract, was well worth a return on investment. And Lisa has come, as Councilman Johnson had asked, periodically to give us updates on those grants, and we look forward to hearing more about those grants in the next year. So again, thank you for all the work that you've done and in getting us those grants and awards. And with that, is there a motion to adjourn?